Hi there, guys. Hopefully you're all doing well. My name is Jason Joseph. This is Play-by-Play with JJ. Hopefully you're all doing well and having yourselves a very, very fantastic day. I know that I did a live reaction of yesterday's press conference with the Eagles, with Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman and the end-of-the-year press conferences that they had. And I've actually had some time to reflect on what was said yesterday. And I really actually am starting to believe that these problems are even going way deeper than what we actually talked about yesterday. And I kind of want to go into more details about that, but before I do that, I also wanted to apologize and also just say sorry that I am so late. I wanted to make sure that I had everything pulled up for this whole video because I wanted to make sure that I backed everything up with different types of video clips and with just different types of facts. But there's a lot to unravel here, and I don't really think that I got to initially do that yesterday, and I wanted to kind of go a little bit deeper with that today. So hopefully you're all doing well, and hopefully you're all having yourselves a very, very fantastic day. Let me pop out the chat. There we go. What's going on, Mitch? What is up? What's up, man? Thanks for coming on, as always. So I want to dive deep into it, okay? You're looking at the title right here on the video. You clicked on it. Howie Roseman has to let Nick Sirianni go. Nick Sirianni cannot stay. Nick Sirianni has to go. And if Howie does not get rid of Nick Sirianni, even within the next week, that tells me that Nick is really, when all is said and done, he might just be a puppet. He might just be a puppet. I think I'm starting to actually now see from other people's point of view that this is going so much deeper than what is actually being presented to us. And I will back everything up in just a little bit. But the other thing, there was something else. I'm having a brain freeze right now. I can't figure out what I wanted to say, but there was something else that I wanted to say that honestly kind of just threw me off a little bit. But actually, let's just dive into it. I mean, let's honestly just go into it. So I have a couple videos up here from yesterday's press conference, all right? First of all, look, and I don't usually like to judge people by looks, but just because I got to listen to this press conference yesterday, look at how much... Oh, wait, I can't zoom in on here. I keep forgetting I can't do that. Give me one sec. Can I zoom in? No, I can't. I don't think I can zoom in. Can you guys see that? Nah, it doesn't do that. Anyhow, if you just see the look on his face, all right, he looks sad. He looks confused. He looks really tired. And the body language, I said from the very beginning, really said a lot of things about Nick Sirianni yesterday. But this reporter in particular asking a question I thought was really interesting, and I actually got to fully dissect this response. And when I go back and when I listen to things, guys, sometimes when I'm doing play-by-play, I miss things during the moment, and then I go back and I watch the tape, and then I realize, oh my gosh, like I totally missed out on this. I totally missed out on this, but I know that there's only so much that you can handle, but there really is a lot of problems with everything that's going to be presented right here. So watch this.
If the offensive coordinator is going to be in charge of the offense and the defensive coordinator is going to be in charge of the defense, what is your role going to be?
The head coach of the football
team.
What
does that entail? How does it change?
Yeah, I guess it'd be this very similar to what's going on right now. Does that mean I'll sit more into defensive meetings at times? Maybe, right? Instead of always being in an offensive meeting, maybe I go to a defensive meeting here and there. But my job is to be the head coach of the team, not the head coach of the offense, not the head coach of the defense, not the head coach of the special teams, but be the head coach of the football team. And so that's building the culture. That's making sure the culture's, working, with our 5 core values.
Okay. But before I dive into the quote unquote 5 core values and the quote unquote culture, okay? I had a problem yesterday originally with him saying that he wasn't going to as many defensive meetings as the head coach. And that, to me, right there is saying everything, like the writing is on the wall, that this man is honestly not controlling everything. Like, I don't think that... I think that answer right there, and I can't always seem to trust him because he has lied to the media. He has obviously lied about certain things, and he hasn't come forward in regards to telling the truth about certain things. But I have to admit right here that I think that I've gotten a lot of time to reflect on this. I really think that he just is so clueless, and he's at the point now where it's like, why is he even there? If he's a game manager, because people have been telling me, and they've been coming at me in my DMs, that he's a big game manager now, well, your position originally was the head coach, okay? And then Shane Steichen comes in the year after that. He takes over the offensive coordinating duties. This guy is, quote-unquote, the cheerleader of the team, right? Shane Steichen leaves. Brian Johnson then comes in, and and Nick Sirianni saying that he's pretty much coaching my offense. Why are we keeping him around? Why? Can somebody explain it to me? I have to sit in on more defensive meetings next year. Either A, you're not sitting in on a lot of defensive meetings, which I probably do believe that, but also at the same time, who is really running this team? Because now I'm starting to actually kind of think to myself, I don't even think he's running this team.
But be the head coach of the football team. And so that's building the culture. That's making sure the culture's,
By the way, I also want to say this. Yesterday, I was going to be really hard on the media, and I said that going into this, that the media really has to be on their A game. Yesterday, if I were to give them a letter grade yesterday in regards to asking the questions, I'm giving them a D. Because they did not ask the questions that they should have been asking about this team. It's an end-of-the-year press conference, and you know what I want to hear about? I want to hear about the future of this franchise. I want to hear about why didn't things go a certain way in regards to the offensive play calling, and who's really in charge, and then really hound on these guys. Okay, this is why I was really ticked off that Howard Eskin was not able to ask a question yesterday. I don't even know if he was there in attendance. I didn't hear anything from John Clark. I wanted to really have the media try to go at these guys because that is their job. They need to get answers. They have to declare for answers. And I really thought that the media overall, and I have a lot of respect for people in the media. Of course I work there, but I thought that a lot of these questions, some of them were really big. Some of them were just softballs. But Tim McMahon this year, I thought did a good job at asking this question in particular. And Nick's first response is like, I'm going to be the head coach. Doesn't make sense. So I have to also just point that out there too.
Working, with our 5 core values, are taking every day at a time. Like, we're not coming up with new core values.
What kind of an answer is that? What kind of an answer is that? 5 core values. Who's in charge? Tell me who's in charge of this team.
A shuffle of where the things are that are important and the most important, but that's diving into that, building the culture, having a relationship with the guys on the football team, because I know when I have that connection with the guys on the football team, that's when things are, that's when the culture is working and working at high level, and then that's where our connection with the players and then their connection with each other works well too.
Okay, see, See, if he's focusing on team culture, and I get it, like he has to do some sort of coaches talk, and he's supposed to be like a motivational speaker. But after just hearing a lot of the things that I heard him say, I don't feel motivated. I feel far less than motivated. And the more times I actually hear him talk, the more ticked off I really do get. I really wonder how much the Eagles PR really just pressed him yesterday after this, because he gave some horrendous responses here. And there's a couple more clips that I have, and I will pull them up in just a little second. But I'm really starting to wonder who really is in charge of this team after him answering that question. And this has been going on now for about like 5 weeks or so, where he's stumbling more, he's going through adversity, and he just doesn't know how to deal with these sort of things. And part of me, of course, does feel bad for him as a person, because he's a good guy. I can see that he's a very good guy, but for some reason, he's not clicking with the players, and he is just, it seems like he's not in charge. Like, the more times I keep listening back to it, I really wonder if he was really even in charge of Brian Johnson's offensive schemes. I just don't know. I really don't know. So here's another clip that I wanted to kind of go to, okay? And this is from Howie, all right? Now, Howie, I thought, at first when I was listening to the press conference yesterday, I thought that he was the more professional one. He seemed like he was the more confident person in the room. But there were a couple of things that when I actually went back and I actually saw certain things, his body language, again, he was trying to get the attention, off of Nick Sirianni and more on him to try to switch people's focus. And part of it also does lead me to believe that he didn't really want the media to come hardcore at Nick Sirianni, and he was sort of being like, well, I got to protect my image too, so let me try to take in some of these questions as well, right? So I think that was also a part of it, but don't you also think that it's kind of funny how these guys show up 30 minutes late to a press conference, unannounced, and all of a sudden, it breaks out during the middle of the press conference that Vic Fandio might be coming to Philadelphia. I don't think that's just a coincidence, Howie. I actually am starting to really, really think that was a business move, and that was a PR type of a thing, because it was also reported 23 hours ago that he was being let go of by the Dolphins. But I think, and I hate speculating, but my gut is telling me, and you don't have to go by what I'm going to say. You don't have to listen to me. But my gut's telling me that he probably said, you know what? We are interested in getting Vic, but how about we release this during the middle of the press conference so that way we can throw these reporters off their game as well, so that way we can kind of manipulate them. You understand what I'm trying to say? Something just doesn't add up. Something feels a little bit off. And this response here really also raised eyebrows to me, too.
At the linebacker position, that we don't care who we play at linebacker. And again, our 2 Super Bowl teams over the last 6 years, the linebacker play was good, from those guys.
Which it was.
And I think, if anything, it's my belief in the players that we have, the young players that we have. I have a lot of belief, and I know Coach does as well, in Nakobe Dean, and so.
How can you believe in Nakobe Dean? And I don't usually like to cut people off, and I know I'm doing that now, but that's because we listened to the whole entire press conference yesterday. How can you believe in Nakobe Dean? Because, A, he's always injured, he's always hurt, and even when he's on the field, I have not seen a lot of sacks from him. I've seen a lot of times where he gets double-teamed, and he can't body his way through. So what is telling you that Nakobe Dean is actually a stud at linebacker, which is pretty much like what you're saying?
I believe in the player. I believe in the person. We lost 2 linebackers at that spot, 2 good players.
Which is also
our
true.
Super Bowl team. And we had Nakobe Wade in the wings.
Oh, Snowman, I did see your comment. I am gonna open this up at the very end. I have a couple clips that I definitely want to play, but then I will open the Discord up too. So I did not forget about your comment. I want to make sure that I get you in on this as well.
We drafted him for that role. Obviously, it didn't work out perfectly for him this year. That doesn't change the belief we have in the player. And then, we felt like we'd have the ability to get an off-ball linebacker, a will linebacker who can run and hit. And honestly, when you watch the tape, Zach Cunningham had a good year. He really did. And he had a mentality that we liked from that position. Of course, we missed some of the guys that left as free agents, missed some of the guys on and off the field that we had strong relationships with.
Howie, what was your involvement
So
in
the other thing that I wanted to say too is that he talked about Zach Cunningham, and I didn't think Cunningham had a bad year, but in some ways, with that sort of response, the other thing that he's doing too is saying he's covering himself up. Well, Zach Cunningham had a good year, so it wasn't all bad. It wasn't all terrible. The bottom line, and this is what has to be coming out of these press conferences to end the year, you didn't get the job done. Okay? I don't want to hear during your first press conference after that, Zach Cunningham actually did have a really good year. You didn't get the job done, Howie. Other people at the linebacker position really struggled too. So you're basically just, trying to cover yourself up in that scenario low key. And in the moment, I didn't notice that. And in the moment, I didn't realize that. And it wasn't really coming to fruition until I had to go back and I had to listen to that. So that low key right there is basically just saying, maybe things didn't work out, but Zach Cunningham actually had a really good season, and even though our linebackers didn't really have the best season, Zach Cunningham did pretty well, and Zach did well, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that why are you saying this literally during when you're giving your end of the year press conference? Why is this coming up now? That's not what should be coming up. You understand what I'm saying? Do you feel me? Is it just me or is there truth to that? I'm still gathering my thoughts, and that's why I'm stumbling a little bit and I'm using a lot of filler words because of that. Another clip I got. Look at this. Back to Sirianni.
Oh, yeah, first. Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, I think every conversation that we're
this is back to Howie.
is about how we can move forward together. And I think the important thing for us to look at is before the stretch, which was a difficult stretch, not diminishing the 1-6 stretch at the end. We were 26-5 over the last 31 games. I mean, that's
Correct.
4 times the amount of games that we played.
Correct.
Over this stretch. That is hard to do in the National Football League. That is hard
Correct.
to find a head coach in this league who has that record of success. I think we were 33-11 up until that point with Nick. We made the playoffs 3 straight years. Again, not okay finishing 1-6, so I'm not sitting up here saying that, but it is hard to find somebody who can do those sort of things. And I think as we go forward, doing this together in a way that continues to get the best possible people we can on and off the field. For me, that's my job to try to make sure that we have that on the field, and my group is as strong as we possibly can get, and I know Nick's committed to that in his group.
See, the problem that I have with that statement too is, do you guys remember, for all you Sixers fans that are out there, do you remember Joel Embiid going out there at the very end of Game 7 during his press conference that he had, and he basically said, James and I can't do this alone? Do you remember when he said that? Literally after Game 7, James and I can't do this alone. While that may be true, you're the superstar of the team. I told him that straight up. Do you think I want to hear that right after a heartbreaker like Game 7? Even though, really, Game 7 wasn't the heartbreaker. It was really Game 6. But Game 7, they just didn't show up, and they didn't have a very good display. But this guy is in charge of the team. Oh, he started off like 26-5 for 31 games, and then we went 1-6. I'm not dismissing that we went 1-6, bro. You're literally beating around the bush, and now I'm starting to really see that you honestly might not be looking good at your position right now either. Again, who is in charge? Who is in charge? I don't think it's Nick now. If Howie does not fire Nick Sirianni, boy, oh boy, this team's in a lot of trouble. Oh, but Jason, Nick wasn't in charge of the play calling last year. It was Shane Steichen. Why is Nick around, guys? What is the purpose of him being there if he's not going to defensive meetings, if the players are not getting behind him, right, and they're not fighting for him in media press conferences? We don't really hear guys sticking up for him. Why is he here? Why is Nick still here? That's what I don't understand. I don't get it. And the more and more the days go by and the times that I watch this thing, I think that there just becomes more and more bottled up frustration. I've seen bad press conferences, guys. I saw Andy McPhail and Matt Klentak and John Middleton talking things over when it came to the whole entire high payroll that the Phillies had and the future of that franchise. I've been able to see other different types of press conferences with Doc Rivers and how bad that really was. Him always blaming the media when the media was actually asking good questions for once. I don't want to say for once. I don't want to make the media sound like that they do a bad job in general, because they really don't. But yesterday was really an off day. It was so bad. They weren't coming at these guys with hard questions. And I even had a poll over here. Not a poll, but I had a little questionnaire where people actually got to ask questions. And I wanted to know why, what questions people wanted to ask. And people on here wrote a list of questions that they would ask Sirianni and Howie Roseman. And I kind of wish that in some ways that they would just take some of these guys' answers, because guess what? These people are the fans, and these people are passionate, and they know what they're talking about. Not saying that the media doesn't, but you're getting quotes from the fans themselves. There's value to that. There definitely is. We'll open up the Discord lines. But then there's one other thing I wanted to talk about before I get to the phones. All right, we'll pull up Discord right now because I have to make the event. That's something I didn't do. All right. Let's look at this. All right. So this right here is an article written about Vic Fangio, Vic Fangio. Okay. So Vic Fangio was fired by the Miami Dolphins. He was let go of by the Miami Dolphins, all right? And I wanted to kind of, when I'm looking at a new acquisition or somebody that might come to whatever team it is that I'm trying to get them to come to, I always like to look at their side as to why things didn't work out. Okay? I'm not saying that this is 100% true, but I like to get different perspectives on things, okay? Why would he be good for the Eagles? What went wrong out in Miami, right? And then you come up to your own conclusions. But there was definitely some truth to this one that I found very, very interesting, and I wanted to just talk about it a little bit. So I'm going to zoom in. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see this. So it says, quote, and I have to give a lot of credit to, of course, the author of this, Mike Oliva. Okay. On Wednesday, the Dolphins, but Yeah. Okay. So their defense was ranked 10th in total defense, right? This is the Dolphins' defense. They were 7th versus the run and 15th versus the pass. Quote, in a league of 32 teams, those are pretty good numbers, honestly, especially when you factor in the injuries of Javon Holland, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, and Jerome Baker. Should I continue? There are names. I think that you get my point. But then he says, so what went wrong? Vic's camp says that he wants to go to Philly because basically he has a 94-year-old mother who lives in northern Philly. But really, is that true? Okay. This is the part that gets really interesting to me. So it says, I'm going to highlight this. Can you guys see that? I hope you can. Maybe that'll make it clear. Let's actually zoom in again on this. If Vic, isn't there a scroll bar? I guess I have to zoom out again. If Vic wants to be closer to his elderly mother, why are current Dolphins players like Javon Holland and Cam Smith and others celebrating the news of Vic leaving on social media? What is he talking about? Well, here is a tweet from Javon Holland. This was a video that was posted. Dolphins safety Javon Holland is kicking rocks on his Instagram story after the Vic Fangio news. This was right after the news was broken that he was parting ways with the defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. Looks like he's saying goodbye, and I'm not going to miss you. Then you have Cam Smith here, literally right after the news broke out. He posts a picture of this, a little emoji of this. You guys see what that is? A lock that's unlocked, meaning freedom. That's what that means. So something there does not add up, and that's a little bit fishy to me. But see, Vic's defense wasn't really that bad, right? Guys actually didn't underperform. But I just find that to be really odd. And then they go into details about his head coaching job over at the Denver Broncos between 2019 and 2021 and all these types of things that went wrong. Teddy Bridgewater's there as the quarterback. He had really bad performances rather than Drew. But anyhow, it is just a little bit odd to me how everything is lining up the way that it is. You understand? I think it's a little bit odd. And I think that something weird is going on with this franchise, and we're going to be in for a very, very long offseason. Is Vic even going to come to the Eagles? I don't know. But again, I find it really odd that you have players that are pretty well respected that are coming after him. I'm saying it now. If Nick goes like 1-3, 4, or 2-5, or 2-5, they will fire him during the year and replace him with Fangio. I just wanted to bring up that point though about what this person had to say about Fangio in regards to that. I'm not saying that he is not a bad option to go with, because he might be a really good option. But I think that there's something to what the players sent on their social media page. What we're going to do now is we're going to get your thoughts on the day after this press conference. I felt relieved yesterday. I'm back in on this. This is not going to be good. And what I mean by relieved is that I felt relieved that the season was over. That's what I meant. All right, we're going to take your phone calls. We'll start the event right now. All right, join the Discord server. If you haven't done so already, I will post it in the live chat. I will do that right now. We'll start the event. Where is it? How do we start the event? We made it for 4 o'clock. Can we edit this? Okay, we can start the event. Start event. Good. If you guys have any thoughts, if you guys want to come on in, please feel free to do so. All right. We're doing this right now. All right, there we go. Little Spongy's here. All right, little Spongy, I'll get you to come on. I'll invite you on to speak. I want to hear what your thoughts are, for sure. 1,000% I want to get you in on this. So just accept the raised hand if you want to come on in, and if you want to speak your mind. We're staying on topic. We're not talking about the Phillies. We're not talking about any other team. We're talking about the Eagles. So if you're waiting here in the Discord, there you are. What's up, little Spongy? How you doing, man?
Yeah.
What's going on? Hello? Can you hear me? 1 second. Let me rejoin Discord again. Every time, man. Every time. Every time. It always happens. That's why I gotta set this up before. And again, how many times do I have to be reminded about that? All right, well, listen then. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. Every time I come on the Discord, when I start this on OBS, it just, for some reason, it doesn't pick up the audio right away, so I have to X out of it and then come back in.
Yeah, I was gonna say last time I was on here it was for the Sixers, and it didn't work right away.
Nah, man, it didn't. What do you think went wrong this year in regards to the Eagles? Do you think it was a Nick Sirianni problem? Do you think it was an organizational problem? Do you think it was both?
Personally, the whole year I have been blaming it on the play call.
Yep.
And they can come out and say that, it was the players calling audibles. Well, even if so, then I have a problem with those players. It's not what am I supposed to tell you?
Yeah, that's.
I'm glad they got fired. I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, do you think that Nick Sirianni should be let go of as well, man?
No.
No? You don't think Nick Sirianni should be let go? You don't think that he was contributing to the part of the problem?
Unless he has a bad year this year.
So you would give him another chance?
Yes, I wanted to give him another chance, especially if he has next year, especially if he has Vic Fandio and possibly Eric Bieniemy. Kind of two, you can say, legend coaches.
Right. Do you also think that Jalen regressed this year, and that was another part of the problem too? If you were to create a pie chart as to why the Eagles ended their season in the first round, what do you think would be the biggest chunk of the pie chart besides the play calling?
Jalen is definitely up there because, he didn't play well.
Right.
It's obvious. He did not play well. How much I want to blame it on him? He had probably his worst year, you would say.
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
I think after a year like last year, he's not going to be the same. And it's this weird narrative, bro, once these guys, even if they're not quarterbacks, once they get paid, the next year after, they're just not good. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
That also might be something. I also think if he has a better, I understand that he knew Brian Johnson very well.
He did. That's true.
I understand that.
Yep.
But knowing someone really well as your OC could be a problem.
That's funny that you bring that up. Yeah.
Because you agree with him on everything.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't want to let business get into the way of things. So that actually kind of makes a little bit more sense when you bring it up from that perspective.
And I feel like if we would have And there's also this narrative to trade A.J. Brown.
Right. I was a little bit surprised that they actually didn't talk about that yesterday.
Well, I don't think they want to listen to the media after.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. I thought the media didn't do a good job yesterday.
Like, they didn't ask good questions.
Nah.
But, I mean, there's other thing I got to say.
Yeah. Go for it. Because
if we lose AJ, I expect Jalen to win out as well.
Yeah.
Just the thing. And then,
yep.
If you guys want to trade AJ, might as well say bye-bye to Jalen as well.
Hey, man, when one domino falls, you know what happens, a domino effect, man. So
it is. It's the domino effect.
That's exactly right. Oh, man, dude, thanks so much for coming on here and for always giving your thoughts, man. It's nice to be able to talk to you. I haven't talked to you in a while, dude. Like, thanks. You always give like great calls on here, man.
Yeah, you and Mitch gotta do more stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely try to do another Sixers game with him for sure, and I want to do another Eagles cast with him as well.
And I will say this.
Yeah, go for it.
One guy I want this team to draft, no matter what, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. He's not a first round pick.
No. I want you to talk. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about just Jeremiah Trotter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's funny. But no, finish what you were gonna say about Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Because we desperately need linebacker help.
Yeah.
I think he's the best linebacker out there. I mean, he's not the top one. He's a second round pick though.
Yeah.
It's one thing. Another guy I've seen rumored to us, which I would also love, if we can get him in the first at pick 22, Kool-Aid McKinstry.
What's his name? I honestly haven't even looked at any of the draft prospects yet.
Kool-Aid McKinstry. He is the corner from Alabama.
Oh, that would be cool.
He's a top corner from Alabama.
Yeah, I've been saying that.
Here's the thing about Alabama. They have two good corners coming out. I mean, the other guy, Terrion Arnold, who has been rumored to the Eagles as well.
Right.
He's the worst one, but he's the less of a name one. But
right.
He jumped up really high this year.
Why is that?
And then he played better.
He just played better.
He was supposed to be maybe a 5th round pick, maybe a 4th.
Yep.
Maybe I'm pushing it, maybe 3rd.
Right.
But there's this other guy I like from Clemson, but he's probably gonna go top 15.
Right.
And I don't want to risk trading up for him.
Do you think that that boosting up the secondary is something that would really help Vic Fangio's defensive scheme?
Well, he runs a 3-4, right?
Yeah. That's why I'm asking.
Yes. But I also think Bradbury and Slay are a big problem. I don't think they're leaders. They are definitely not leaders.
Yeah.
I like, and especially people aren't really saying this. I've been saying this for a while now. People are only saying it now because the season's over. But man, we have Isaiah Rodgers Sr.
That's right. Yeah.
Coming back.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're right.
He's been the talk lately. He ran a 4.28.
Yep.
I mean, that might make Britton Covey extendable.
It's true. I didn't even think about that.
Gone.
You're right.
Unless we move one of them to punt returner. And that's Boston Scott's job, who also might be gone next year.
That's crazy. I forgot about that.
I think we'll give especially with the comment Covey made about Hurts.
Yeah. I didn't even get to talk about that.
That might be a big way that he stays on this team.
Yeah,
Although
that's true.
But also, he's not the best kick returner, so I don't think he'll really get a lot of money from a team. So I think he should be fine.
Yeah.
We should be fine at least.
Yeah, man, for sure. Dude, you always give like really, really good insight on here. I really appreciate you again so much for coming on, man.
Yeah.
All right.
And I got one quick question for you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think we need to address offensive line in either the draft or in free agency?
Well, if that's Howie's bread and butter, I don't know. I haven't looked at the class again this year to see like who has really stuck out at offensive line. I will say
really a lot of first round guys.
I will say that shouldn't be like a top priority in the draft. I think that it's fine to get maybe some guys that are slept on a little bit later, but I also know that Jason Kelsey is retiring, right? And see, like that's kind of what throws this whole thing off too.
Because what are we going to move Cam Jurgens to center? Or because I know there's a Georgia center out in the draft who was supposed to go really high, but he just flopped. But he's supposed to be like a third-round pick now.
Right.
I think that'd be good value. But
it could be.
There's also other guys.
It could be, but I again, like if they were to do it in the draft, it really should not be a top priority. Number one should be cornerback or just nickel because they clearly have a lot of problems. Right. Linebacker, I would be okay if they went with another linebacker too. I think that would be fine as well. But they have to address the defense.
What about the edge? Because I mean, after this year, no BG, and plus he's regressing already. He's old, very old.
That's true. See, that's the thing. That's the tough part. Right.
I know there's a lot of good edges in the first round.
Right.
Like, we got a kid from Washington, a bunch of kids from Bama.
Right.
I personally like the one from. Oh wait, I just saw him. The one from Florida is good. And, UCLA.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I have to look into, of course, as the offseason goes, I would definitely look more into who they should draft, and of course, I'll look more into it too, like when the draft comes closer. But, dude, thanks again for coming on here. I really appreciate that so much.
Okay. Yep.
All right, have a good one, man.
Yep. You too.
All right. Well, there you have it, man. There you have it. But, no. I think that with all the things that we showed you guys, I think that this team has a lot of problems. It's not just Nick now. I'm starting to honestly see that Nick is just a face. That's what it is. Go back to the beginning of the video if you missed all the clips and even the other social media stuff that I posted on here. All these things I had pulled up. And then you'll find out what I'm saying. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap things up here. What time did I make the Flyers cast? I made it for 3:30. I got to make it now 4. I have to push that back because I got to get ready for that. All right, I love you all. I'll catch you all in the next one. And we'll still talk about this team. We'll still keep you in the loop with everything that's going on. All right? Love you all. See ya.